Alright, so welcome back to another episode of Mostly Michigan Beer Review. I am your host James, and today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. We are going to do a homebrew episode. We're going to see the basics of homebrewing, and I have my friend Chris here to show you. So here's Chris. Hello. He is the master. He will be teaching us everything we need to know.
Not such a master, but I am a home brewer. It is fun, it's inexpensive for the most part, and you can make good beer the way you want it.
I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
How long ago did you start?
It'll be 2 years in October.
And how many would you say you've brewed so far? How many beers?
I've brewed
Like
probably about 30 batches.
30 batches?
Yeah. Ranging from a gallon to 5 gallons.
I was going to say 500 for you. So what are we doing right now?
We are heating up the water to mash the grains. What mashing is you let the grains soak in the water, the hot water, and it extracts the sugars out of the grains, and the sugars are what are gonna create the alcohol.
So we're doing all grain brewing today?
All grain brewing.
Excellent.
It's a hybrid brew in a bag. It's not quite just brew in the bag because I sparge, and most brew in the bag is no sparge, but I kind of bag it and sparge it, so it seems to be working for me. So
excellent.
That's what I'm sticking with.
All right. So we're gonna wait for it to boil. So what are we doing now, Chris?
We are about to what they call dough in.
We're doughing in.
Doughing in. Just adding the grains. Actually, like bread dough is made from flour, which this is almost flour. Just kind of flour at the bottom.
Yeah.
So they call it doughing in because we're kind of making a dough, a mash dough.
So what kind of beer are we brewing today?
We are brewing a pale ale.
Pale ale.
This is actually my double IPA recipe that I have toned down a little bit to make it not so high on the ABV and IBUs. So I'm gonna make it a pale for it to be drinkable.
Excellent.
So we want to get about half the grains in there, and then stir it around. So if you add too much, you'll get dough balls, and you don't want dough balls because then you're losing out on sugars that could be getting hit by water. And you want all the grains to get all the water.
Well, that's a mistake I made the first time I tried.
Yeah, dough balls?
I poured it all in.
Oh, well.
It was a gallon batch, though, so I don't know if that was a big deal.
Probably not. I mean, you can only get so much into a gallon batch. I think the most grain I've used in a gallon batch is about 7 pounds.
What's it smell like? It smells like grains. It smells good. So we got the grain stirred in, and now we are trying to come up to the proper temperature. What's it reading right now?
It's at 155.
And we have to hit what target about?
About 150, 149. I'm just going to kind of sit here until we get that.
Alright.
Now, why we need to hit the temperature is the higher the temperature that you mash at, you're going to get a thicker mouthfeel in the beer. And then you actually extract less alcohol at a higher temperature than a lower temperature, but then you get more ABV out of it, and then it'll be a smoother, lighter beer, more drinkable.
Interesting.
Yeah. You do the Belgians and stuff are usually typically higher. Wheat beers are higher, and then IPAs and pales and stuff like that are usually matched at a lower temperature.
All right, excellent. All right, so we are waiting, and I got some hop candy. I'm gonna try some hop candy while we're waiting around. There it is. This is not marijuana candy. It's hop candy. Citrusy, piney, definitely a green. So that's what hops taste like. not bad.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting.
It's interesting, I guess. That's the review. What do we have here, Chris?
This is called a refractometer. You put a sample of your wort in there, and it tells you your gravity reading. And gravity reading is the amount of sugar that you have in your water. So when you're brewing a beer, you're shooting for a gravity reading, a certain specific one that will give you the final ABV count. So this is without using a hydrometer, this is the easiest way to get your gravity reading.
For us math people. Alright, so we're starting the sparge process. Flip-flops are needed for this process.
Yes, required. Flip-flops are required.
Where are your flip-flops?
So this is sparging. This is the process of rinsing the grains. What we're going to do is we're dripping almost boiling water onto the grains, which is going to just run through the grains and wash all the grains of all the sugars that were left behind when I pulled the bag out. So this, you don't want to go too fast because you want to rinse the grain as much as possible. So this is why it's trickles. You want to get as much grain as possible. The reason for the almost boiling water is it opens up the hulls a little bit and extracts a little bit more sugar.
That makes sense.
You're almost like germinating the seeds, which is how you get all the sugar out of it. So we're just going to hit here and trickle about 4 gallons worth of water, or until this is about full.
Alright, sweet. Here we are. Got it. Squeezing the rest of the water out of there. Beautiful.
So now we have sparged and we have rinsed all the grains of all the sugars that we can possibly get. We are about topped off here with the kettle. At this point, we now have wort, and wort is the term for the water that now has all the sugar. And what we're going to do is we're going to boil it to sanitize it, shrink it down, concentrate a little bit to get our gravity that we want. And we also have to add hops, which is going to give it the flavor, bitterness, and smell that we want it to. And the different times of adding the hops are going to determine all those different factors. So when we're ready for some hops, after this gets boiling,
we'll record that.
Yep.
Alright. That's the hops we're using. Measuring them out for the recipe. Mosaic and Citra, and it smells like heaven. Enter the hops.
In goes the bittering hops.
Woohoo! Bittering hops.
The main source of the final IBU. When you see a number on the bottle that says IBU, it is the International Bittering Units, and it's how bitter the beer is, and depending on how many hops you put in for your first edition is going to give you probably 80 to 90% of your IBUs. The next step will be aroma, which is about halfway through, and that's going to give you the smell of your beer. And we're going to add some at flame out, which is going to give us the majority of the flavor. So we're at a half hour of the boil now, and it's time to add our second addition of hops, which are the aroma hops. This is going to give it the nice smell when you smell it, when you crack it open. And we're going to do a 1/4 ounce of each Mosaic and Citra for a half ounce addition for this one.
Sweet. There it is.
And they go.
So this is the flame out hops.
It's going to give us flavor.
Cooling the wort down.
Oh, that hurts so bad.
Hot?
Yeah.
Siphon time. Yep.
Now we transfer.
I got you, damn airplane. Alright, so now we're transferring.
We cooled the wort down to about 76. Pretty much optimal. It'll be pretty much 70 degrees. Well, it'll stay about 75. It's pretty hot outside, but that's about optimal temperature.
It's very hot today.
To pitch the yeast.
Pitching yeast. Let it chill.
This also aerates. You want to aerate.
So why is aerating important?
Aerating is important because the yeast needs oxygen to stay alive.
Just like every creature, right?
Right. It is a live organism that needs oxygen. Oxygen is only good before fermentation. After fermentation, it will kill your beer.
It's a bad thing. So that was our homebrew episode today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'd like to thank Chris again for showing us how it's done, some of the moves. So thank you again, Chris, for
Thank you, James.
helping us out. We love it.
Thank you.